Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Time. So I am Andra, and today we are going to pick back up with the trust tree. So last time we left off, we met our adorable little character, Nibble, who had the propensity to stretch the truth just a wee bit. And we were in a forest where there's this amazing, huge tree that just seems to know all the right answers. And everyone in the forest goes to this tree for advice. But Nibble didn't think that he would ever need to go to this tree and tell him his business, I guess, right? So he didn't think that was necessary. But one day, while he was in the forest, he was playing around and he kind of knocked over his friend Chipper's acorns. And Chipper had been working really, really, really hard to gather those acorns and, save them up so that he had enough food for the winter and stuff like that. And Nibble then turned around and lied about it. And he is just feeling so guilty right now. And that's where we're going to pick up the story. So, have you ever told somebody not the entire truth? So, you stretch the truth a little bit, maybe you lied, and then you felt guilty about it? Because our bodies know when things aren't right. And we know the difference between right or wrong. So, we're going to go back into this story and we're going to see what Nibble decides to do because Chipper is his friend and he's a good friend and Nibble doesn't want to hurt him. Nibble's a really good guy. He just made a mistake. So let's see how he rectifies or corrects that mistake. So I'm going to share the screen so that you can actually see the characters in the story. We're going to come down here a little bit. Go up here where it is. We're going to make this bigger, and here we are. So, seeking wisdom from the trust tree. So, Nibble could not sleep. No matter how much he tossed and turned in his cozy nest of moss and twigs, the weight of his guilt refused to let him rest. The soft rustle of the wind in the trees, usually so comforting, only reminded him of the lie he had told to Chipper. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Chipper's drooping whiskers and heard his sad voice. This isn't right, Nibble whispered to himself, curling his tail around him. He sat up, peering out of his nest. In the distance, through the gaps in the treetops, he could see the faint glow of the trust tree. Its golden patterns seemed to shimmer even brighter in the moonlight, as if it were calling to him. Nibble's heart thumped as he thought about going to the trust tree. He had never gone there before. What if he could not help him? What if the other animals found out what he had done? He shook his head. No, he said out loud. I have to go. I have to fix this. I'm just going to put this up here or down here. Quietly, he scurried out of his nest and began his journey through the forest. The moonlight painted the forest in silvery light, and the air was cool and still. Each step felt heavier than the last as he neared the great tree. When he finally arrived, the sight took his breath away. The trust tree stood taller than he had ever imagined. Its massive trunk etched with glowing golden patterns that pulsed softly like a heartbeat. The leaves shimmered with emerald light, and the roots stretched out like welcoming arms. Nibble stood at the base of the tree, his tail twitching nervously. Hello, he said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. The leaves of the tree rustled, though there was no breeze. A warm, soothing voice seemed to fill the air around him. Welcome, little one, it said gently. Why have you come? Nibble hesitated, his paws trembling. I made a mistake, he admitted, his voice shaking. I ruined Chipper's acorns. I didn't mean to, but then I lied and I blamed it on a blue jay. The tree was silent for a moment, and Nibble's heart pounded in the stillness. Then the voice returned, calm and understanding. Mistakes are a part of life, little one. What matters is what you do next. Nibble's ears perked up. But what if Chipper stays mad at me? What if I cannot fix it? The trust tree's golden patterns glowed a little brighter, and its voice softened. Trust is built on honesty. When you tell the truth, you open the door to forgiveness. But hiding behind lies will only make the door harder to find. Nibble sat down at the base of the tree, his tail curled around his paws. I'm scared, he admitted. Being brave doesn't mean you're not afraid, the tree said. It means doing the right thing, even when it's hard. The tree's golden patterns began to shift, forming the shape of a small bird. It told Nibble a story of a little sparrow who once broke her best friend's favorite branch while playing. The sparrow had been scared to admit what she had done, but when she told the truth, her friend forgave her, and together they fixed the branch. Nibble listened intently, his heart feeling lighter with every word. When the story ended, he stood up, determination shining in his eyes. I'll tell Chipper the truth, he said firmly. Even if he's mad, it's the right thing to do. The tree's leaves rustled again, as if it were smiling. Go with courage, little one. The forest grows stronger with every act of honesty. As Nibble turned to leave, the moonlight seemed brighter, the path ahead clearer. For the first time since the accident, he felt a spark of hope. Your turn. Have you ever been nervous to tell the truth? How did that feel awkward? What advice would you ask the trust tree if you could visit it? Draw what you think Nibble's journey to the trust tree looked like. What do you think will happen when Nibble tells Chipper the truth? Telling the truth. Nibble woke up before the sun. The forest still wrapped in mist. The air was cool and damp, and the scent of pine filled his nose as he climbed down from his nest. His tail twitched nervously as he glanced toward the brook where Chipper often played. Today he would tell the truth. His heart thudded with every step. What if Chipper was angry? What if he did not forgive him? Nibble shook his head, trying to push the thoughts away. He repeated the trustee's words in his mind. Trust is built on honesty. It was not easy, but it was the right thing to do. When Nibble reached the brook, he saw Chipper, crouched near the water, carefully scanning the ground. His tiny paws sifted through pebbles and leaves, and his whiskers drooped with disappointment. He was still looking for his lost acorns. Nibble swallowed hard and stepped closer. Chipper, he said softly. Chipper turned, his face brightening for a moment before his expression became guarded. Oh, hey, Nibble, he said. I'm just looking for my stash. I guess that blue jay took more than I thought. Nibble's stomach twisted. He took a deep breath, his tail drooping. Chipper, I have to tell you something, he began. His voice trembled, but he forced himself to go on. It was not the blue jay. It was me. I accidentally knocked over your acorns into the brook, and then I lied about it. For a moment, there was only the sounds of the brook babbling over the rocks. Chipper stared at Nibble, his whiskers twitching with surprise. You lied to me, he said, his voice very sharp with hurt. I'm so sorry, Chipper, Nibble said, his eyes filling with tears. I did not mean to ruin your acorns, and I was scared you would be mad at me. I know I should have told you the truth. I feel awful about it. Chipper's nose twitched as he considered Nibble's words. Why didn't you just tell me? He asked quietly. I was so upset about losing all those acorns. I know, Nibble said, his voice barely above a whisper. I thought lying would make it easier, but it only made everything worse. I hope you can forgive me. Chipper sighed, his whiskers quivering. I am upset, Nibble, but I am glad you told me the truth. That means a lot. Nibble's ears perked up. Really? You're not mad? Chipper shook his head, a small smile spreading across his face. I was mad, but being honest was brave. Besides, we can always find more acorns. Nibble's heart lifted, and a smile broke across his face. I'll help you gather them, he said eagerly. We can make a new stash, even better than before. Let's do it, Chipper said, his smile growing wider. The two friends spent the morning exploring the forest, searching for the biggest, shiniest acorns they could find. They laughed and teased each other, the weight of Nibble's guilt replaced by the warmth of their friendship. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Nibble paused and looked at Chipper. Thank you for forgiving me, he said softly. I don't ever want to lie to you again. Chipper nodded. And I'll always forgive you if you're honest with me, he said. That's what friends are for. Nibble smiled, feeling lighter than he had in days. As they headed back to their nest, he decided he would visit the trust tree again, soon to thank it for its wisdom. He had learned a lesson he would never forget. Trust and friendship grow strongest when built on honesty. Okay, boys and girls, it's your turn. Questions. So, how do you think Nibble felt before he told Chipper the truth? He was probably really nervous and upset, huh? Why is it important to say sorry when we have made a mistake? Have you ever had to say sorry to a friend? And what had happened to make you feel like you needed to say sorry? Draw a picture of Nibble and Chipper working together to collect acorns. So this is a bonus section I always create in my stories for kids to draw and color. And if you're interested, I will be happy to send it to you. Okay, so the trust tree is sharing its wisdom with Nibble. What advice do you think the trust tree is giving him? Color this magical scene and write down the advice you would ask for if you visited the trust tree. So you guys can always reach out to me via email or below in the comments, and I'd be happy to send you some of these things that you can color or some of the questions so you can think about this. But I do want to leave you with this. Sometimes we hurt people, and it's not always intentionally. And it's important to say sorry when we've wronged somebody. And friendships are very strong. And even if you've done something you don't think is forgivable, you'd be surprised at how a strong friendship can really, really get through anything. So try to be honest with your friend, apologize if you're wrong, and understand that the truth, even if it might hurt someone's feelings, is better than a lie. Okay? So I hope you've enjoyed this session of Story Time with Andra. I so enjoy having you here, and I hope you love the ending of the trust tree. Have a great day, boys and girls.